is when you've been making wine in an area for a long time, it's equally about the personalities and the relation. Terroir has a lot more to do with other things than just what that piece of land is. So I know Mark Pasternak because I was in bankruptcy with La Crema in 1991. He couldn't sell his grapes. Cold called me and said, I got free grapes, you want to try some Pinot Noir? That's how I got you. Mark, that's how I met Mark. Nobody wanted it. He brought it to Gary Farrell, he called Rocchioli, he called Tom Dalinger, he called Swan. Nobody wanted his grapes. I said, sure. So I rented a tank because I didn't have a tank for it, and I've been making his grapes, his wine ever since. And Mark's kind of an interesting story, but we'll go to that again later. Foxton is new for Dutton-Goldfield, but not new for me. I used to make a wine called Orogeny. Anybody ever hear Orogeny? It was a Shalom Group project, which was a lot of fun. Tom Selfridge, who was the CEO of Shalom Group for many years, was my boss at Kendall Jackson when they bought La Crema in 1993. He and I were good friends. When he left KJ to work for Shalom Group, you know, we kept talking, and when I started our own thing, I consulted a lot on the side, and I only do minimally now. And I called Tom and said, you know, you guys, at that point, Shalom Group had like Chalon and Acacia. I said, yeah, Pinot Noir in all these places, but not the best appellation in California. Why don't you let me start a brand for you in Russian River? So we started Orogeny in 2001, 2002 was the first vintage with the label. And so in 2000, I found this piece of land up on Harrison Road, as we were talking about. It's kind of convoluted way that I know this land. And the guy who owns it, his name is Ed Smith, Ed and Sue Smith. Ed still works in the Marines. In his mid-70s, he's a professor of marine biology out of the Bodega Lab for Davis. And my wife took out his appendix. So my wife happens to be a surgeon. So as Bowie in her normal way, as she's wheeling him, this is a true story, as she's wheeling him into the OR, he's like the most wonderful, he's like my hero. She's wheeling him into the OR, and he's, you know, awake at that point. She realizes where he lives, and she said, you know, my husband always bikes by that piece of land and thinks they make an amazing vineyard. So when, you know, if you survive this, a year, like 6 months later, Ed calls me. In fact, I'll get you a deal. Yeah. So we planted this vineyard in 2000, yeah, the spring of 2000, and first crop was in 2002, and it went to Orogeny, and then when Orogeny or Shalom Group got bought by Diageo, which is like a huge company, they didn't really support expensive wines anymore, and so I was able to take over the vineyard. So it's a lot of fun for me, actually. And so this is one that Steve Dutton farms but doesn't own. And so it's all about these little stories. So why don't we do this then? Let's go to the Chardonnay, and then we'll go back to the Pinots again. Has anybody been? I hope you've been cheating and smelling the Rude while you're tasting the other wine.
Double cheating.
So first of all, when you smell and taste it, and then tell me what you eat with it, because I have to tell somebody whom I'm doing a winemaker dinner for in Palm Beach.